It was like, if you're undocumented, get out. Oh my goodness. I was like, yo. Okay, what's up, everybody? How are y'all doing? I hope that y'all are having a great day today. My name is Daniela, and I'm just out here trying to talk to the people. I know some things, I don't know everything, but I know some things, and I just want to like share this out and hope it could do some good, you know? And today's topic specifically, it's trying to answer a little bit of the question, why not just become legal? Okay. And this is typically directed at usually like a Mexican or like a Latino person that is not able to get their papers together or like get a green card. In other words, becoming a permanent a resident. Okay. So let's just dive into it. I mean, honestly, y'all, long story short, it's just that there's not a line. And when there is a line, it just takes forever. Like it genuinely does take forever. Like just put it into perspective, like it takes on average at least 20 years for like the average Mexican who's trying to get a green card or become a permanent resident through family sponsorship. So that's 20 years, y'all. Like I'm 21, that's like literally my whole life. So put it into perspective, that's really a long time to wait. And to understand it a little bit more, Congress limits the percentage of green cards available to any one country of origin. So one country of origin cannot have more than 7% of green cards available to it in any category of visas. And it's kind of interesting to think about because it's like, okay, so if there's like one country where more than 7% want to come over to the United States, but then there's some countries where less than 7% want to come over to the United States. Like, why can't it be like a little bit different so that we can accommodate those with bigger numbers that want to come to the United States, and I guess just like decrease the green cards available to those countries where less people want to come in. It's just kind of something to think about and kind of interesting. I want to kind of understand further why it hasn't really been changed to adapt those like needs or like the demands, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, it is like a real issue though to think about too, because like every year there are more people trying to get green cards than there are green cards available. So I don't know, like what has Congress like done necessarily to like address this? I feel like every time, like I don't know, they're just kind of scaring people off and not really like I don't know, doing anything really about it. And I feel like nobody's happy because like the border is still like not really secure. So there's people still coming in, and you know that causes like a security issue, which is valid. But then also for the people that are trying to get here and do things the right way, you know, they can't. They can't. There hasn't been like a reform in like a while. And the backlogs are crazy. So like, you know, what's going on? The like I don't know, I feel like nobody's happy and stuff, so it's just something to think about and maybe a potential solution, but I just don't really understand. I got to dig deeper into like what's going on or why the percentage situation per country hasn't been like changed, or maybe something else, why there hasn't been like something else done about it. And if y'all look at on here, I was talking to a lawyer a while ago, and she told me to look at the visa bulletin board to check. Like, I'm gonna just explain it because I feel like it's like a lot. But she basically like directed me to this. Like, it's called the visa bulletin board, and if you just type in visa bulletin board on Google, and today's month, so today it's June 2024. So that's why we're here, visa bulletin for June 2024. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just tell you a little bit, like a summarized form. Like I'm sure I'm gonna be missing a lot. I'm not no lawyer or anything like that. I'm not even studying law. I've only taken like one law class, but that's besides the point. So I'm gonna be looking here, you know, at my notes. But basically, like step one for filing a green card for a family member is filing form I-130. And the date your I-130 is filed is called your priority date, and it represents your place in line for a green card, okay? And I'm gonna say like family sponsorship because usually I feel like, at least from the people that I've met, like around me, like a lot of Mexican individuals in this process, that's usually how they're getting their green cards or trying to attempt to get their green cards, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's important, like your priority date, okay? When you actually file to get a green card. So family sponsor types from like these are the family sponsor types when you look at this table from F1 to F4, as y'all can see. So for example, like F3, that's the category of married sons and daughters of US citizens. And then over here at the top, in the columns, we see like country names. So we got, China, India, Mexico, Philippines. And then the one that says all chargeable areas except those listed, it's just all other countries that are not China, India, Mexico, and the Philippines, right? And right now we don't see this, but sometimes they have like a C instead of like these dates. A C would mean that there is currently no backlogs and there is a visa available. So right now we can see for all of them, there's backlogs for every country, I guess. Well, I don't know too much about these. Well, yeah, I guess that's all the countries. So yeah, I'm telling you, I'm not a lawyer, but this is from what I've known. So yeah, so there's no backlog. I mean, there is backlogs for everybody right now. And if you see a date like we've seen here, there that means that your priority date must be the date listed or earlier in order to move on to the next step. So this means that for like the third. So if you are a married son or daughter of a US citizen from Mexico, then that means that your priority date must be December 1st, 1999 or earlier in order to move on to the next step. Y'all, we are in 2024. This means that somebody would be waiting like somebody that like literally applied in December 1st of 1999. This was like 25 years ago. 25 years ago they applied and they're just now able to get on with the next steps of trying to get their green card. And it's just kind of crazy to think about. And also how things progress, it's also difficult to tell. US Citizenship and Immigration Services, also known as USCIS, is constantly changing with new policies like workloads and processing time. So it's not like every month that passes, people are a month closer to receiving their green cards. You know what I'm saying? Like I've checked, like since I'm also like interested in like these kinds of things, and I've checked, and what I've seen, like sometimes the dates go backwards. So it could be like December 1999, and it could go back to like November 1999, for example. And a lot of the times they also just stay stagnant. Like I feel like I've seen this like last month. And I mean y'all could double check. I mean y'all can also like see so what is June. So y'all can go even see like January or something, you know. Y'all can go see May, like last month, and see what it was and if it changed. But right now, this is what it is. So it's just crazy to think about. And then yeah, I mean, and then after, like once it's actually like 1999, or like once your priority date has reached 1999, then it takes 1 year to take the next step of trying to go, fill out everything. And if you don't take that step within that year, USCIS will assume that you no longer want the green card and move on to the next person. But yeah, but then after that, you just gotta like file more forms like the I-485. And I mean, who knows what else you have to do, to be honest. I have to look into that more, which is why I'm not gonna be covering it here. But I just wanted to get y'all like the gist and just like let y'all actually see it for yourselves. Y'all could do this research. This is legit. 1999. People that applied in 1999 are just now able to continue with the process of getting legal, because getting a green card means permanent residency, aka legal. 25 years, y'all. 25 years. I mean, yeah, yo, this is just something to think about. There's oh my goodness, there's literally like so much to talk about. Like I don't even know where to start after explaining all of this. It's just a lot. It's a lot that I have in mind right now. I don't even know. But it's just something that I felt like I had to address though. Because I know a little bit about it. I don't know everything, of course. I don't claim to be. I mean, I'm 21 again. I'm a college student. I don't know a lot, probably nothing. Nah, I know a little bit. I know a little bit, but I wanted to share that with you. And see like your thoughts and everything. But Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure people might appreciate it because I know, like, even today I saw this like a Reddit line or whatever it's called, and it was like, well, why can't people just become legal? You know, something along those lines. And it's just something. I mean, for the people that genuinely ask and are like actually wanting to know, like, okay, like what's going on? Like, why can't you? Or even people that are like, oh, like, what are you hiding? Like, like, why don't you just become legal? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense for people that don't understand like the process and how like arduous it is and stuff. It makes sense to genuinely question that. It makes sense. But for some people that are just so rude, like seriously, y'all, like, oh my goodness, just as a humanity, as a species, we got to get back to like solving things, talking about it, not yelling to each other, no violence, actually listening to each other, not just talking over, listening, not to respond, but to actually understand, just basic like kindergarten stuff. Y'all be disappointing me. Like, I don't know. Nah, but for real, like, and it also makes me like, honestly, it does make me mad. Like, when people are actually like saying like a rude like, oh, just become legal, like get out, oh my goodness, that's one thing I saw on Google. It was just a search. It was like, if you're undocumented, get out. Oh my goodness, I was like, yo, okay. Like, I mean, I understand, like, I guess some arguments that people have and stuff, especially with the news blowing it up, everybody's scared, like the people that are actually like messed up, that enter without authorization and are killing people. Nah, like I definitely like no, I don't think anybody in the right mind condones that type of stuff. That's my thing. But it's more about like things like this. It's like when you got somebody waiting 25 years to get a green card because they want, themselves and their family to just exceed, like succeed and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they can't find those same opportunities in their house. You know what I'm saying? Like it's those kinds of people that I'm advocating for. I don't really like, for those that are actually like out here like taking advantage and like just coming over without authorization and are just like killing people and doing all this crazy stuff. Like, nah, I don't even like that if citizens do that. Like, but that's a whole nother topic. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking for those hardworking people, those people that, I feel like deserve the world. Good people. That's who I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking about. And it makes me mad when people just like group everybody together and then get so mad, like, oh, just become legal, get out. Just different stuff like that. Especially because if you're somebody that doesn't have papers, don't got your stuff figured out, and you're here, you've made some sacrifices. Um, not gonna say that they're right or wrong necessarily, because what's illegal, I mean, it's illegal. But we can get into another conversation because I don't necessarily think that everything legal or illegal is necessarily right or wrong. Like, I don't think legality determines right or wrong, but that's another conversation. Um, but I think it just makes me upset because it's like, so people that are here that, again, sacrifice for their families, etc., to be here to do better, to not get in anybody's way, any trouble and everything like that, but just trying to do better. And they're here and they're working jobs that not even citizens want to do, just different stuff like that. Like, it's for those people and they can't even defend themselves. They can't even defend themselves. They might not even know English. They might not feel like they are empowered enough to say stuff. And of course they're not gonna say stuff because they're scared of getting deported. They're scared. And it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these people that come from like very like humble beginnings, very humble origins and stuff. And that's like the people that I'm talking about, but they can't even say something back. And it just makes me mad because these powerful like politicians and stuff that are just like using them as scapegoats and like, just different stuff like that. It makes me mad. It really does. Like, I will say that it does. I'm not talking about the criminals again, people that are doing crazy stuff. I'm talking about just the hardworking people. Like, don't group everybody together and like, I don't know. That's why I wanted to make this video, because I wanted to just talk about this. This is kind of like it turned into a little rant. Just talk about this for the good, hardworking people and their families. Okay, it's just for that. I don't even know where I was going with this. Anyways, I'm not saying that all politicians and everybody in the United States and stuff are so mean to like people, the good people that just are not like authorized to be here and stuff like that. It's just for those that are like, it just makes me a little bit upset. It makes me a little upset. Nah, but peace to the people. Again, peace to the people. Okay. Nah, but that's why I had to make this video. Because for those that are picking, like that have more power and stuff, and they pick on somebody that can't defend themselves, it's just not right. It's just not right. I just don't think it's right. Um, yeah. But anyways, again, for the question of why don't you just become legal? Well, I was just talking about like the line and stuff. I wasn't even talking about the amount of money it takes, the time. I know when I was talking to that one attorney that told me about the visa bulletin, for her it's like $100 per hour just to visit her, and you might not even get the outcomes that you want in that session, you know? And I think in some other like states, on average, it might be like up to $300 just per hour, just to sit down with the lawyer and talk about things and maybe not even get the results that you want or the answers that you want. And I feel like for a lot of, at least from my experience, the individuals that I know, they come from like backgrounds that are like, they might not have even graduated like high school, or like maybe not even like up to like middle school, you know, maybe they just dropped out in like elementary to go work in the farm and stuff, for example. Because they valued work, since they didn't see education as a way to lead them into something um, worthwhile back in their home country, for example. So they're scared. They don't feel like empowered. They don't feel like they know stuff. Like, oh, there's these big words, you know, for example, and these very like legal, technical stuff. So you go into that session as somebody like that, and somebody that doesn't even speak like Spanish, depending if your lawyer is able to talk in English and in Spanish or not. Um, and then you might not even get the answers that you're looking for because you don't even know how to ask. It's just some things to think about as well. So there's that. So time. I know an individual that, like a family that like they would go drive up to like their lawyer that was like an hour away from where they lived. Again, that's time, money, gas money. They're trying to work, put food on the table. Um, and I mean, we can talk about this whole other issue about like how a lot of them like they're here, but they're working like jobs like the lowest of the low. Um, so like missing work, it's like a lot. It's a lot. Like they could be earning money, and especially like if they're giving it to somebody and they don't even get the outcomes that they want, it gets frustrating. Especially you got to be very patient with these kinds of things, and when you lose hope, you just I don't know. Like if you've gone to trial, like I know an individual. Let me not make it so bad. I know an individual that like they applied, everything was good and stuff. They went to like court or something. I'm not sure how it works. That's the thing. I'm not like a lawyer, but I just know that something happened and like they couldn't they couldn't get their green card and stuff, so then they had to wait again, go on like another visa, like wait list, and it still didn't work out, or they're still waiting, and so it gets frustrating, and you feel like, well, there are some lawyers that take advantage actually, and like they rip you off, they just talk, give you hopes up, get your hopes up, but they don't even really get the outcomes that you want, for example. Um, So it's just different stuff like that to think about. Time and money. Time and money, something else to think about. And all the documents they have to gather, they make you get like fingerprints and all these like medical stuff, all this kind of stuff. It all costs money and time. So it's just some more things to think about and stuff, other than just like the time itself to wait for the green card itself from the time that you file to the time that you potentially get it or not, because it's not guaranteed. And I don't know, y'all can make an opinion just on this. You can still be like, oh, like, I don't know, they still shouldn't have done that. And I mean, I respect everybody's like opinion, like, sure. Just from this, like, oh, just wait, just wait. You still shouldn't be crossing the border, etc. It makes sense. And I mean, I agree to an extent because it is very dangerous. So it's not even good for the people themselves that are crossing over necessarily. Because if they're risking such huge things, I mean, there's a lot, there's a lot that goes into it. But I mean, y'all can still make an opinion and stuff, and just on this, but this is only a part of it. That's why I say, like, I don't know everything, and I'm also not gonna cover everything about the immigration system and everything in just one video. Like, dig deeper. Like, think about, like, okay, so why are the immigration laws the way that they are? who decided them, with what intentions, like which people did they want in, which people did they want out, just various things like that. And is that ethical? Like, just different things, like just to keep in mind and stuff. Um, and yeah, I mean, because this is just not the start of the immigration system or like the problem or opportunity, depending on how you see like immigration as well, because it could be an opportunity as well. Um, and yeah, I mean, you also got to think about like the push and pull factors. Like, of course, the United States has more opportunities than some other countries. And it can be a safer place and a place of refuge for some people that are really like seeking like dangerous um, like places and situations and stuff. But also think about the push factors as well, like Mexico and stuff. For example, with the lack of some areas in Mexico have like a lack of opportunities and just a lack of safety. Like I know somebody, like a lady that I know, and like her parents, like they were doctors back in Mexico, but then they would kept getting threatened for money, and so they would have to give the robber like money and stuff because they would be scared. So then I would give them money, and it's like, okay, so now at that point you're doctors, but you're working to provide for somebody else. Might not even be able to put food on your table because you're giving it to somebody else who keeps stealing, and that's not fair in general. So then crossed over, or they came with a visa and then overstayed it. I'm not sure which one it was, but just an example of like different situations. So yeah, it's just something to think about, or the typical story of like, oh, like wanting to see your kids grow up and do better than you, and more opportunities, more education, more everything, more jobs, just better things, just things like that. We could think about that. But I guess also like that's as an individual sense, but also what about like in general, like, okay, so immigration, it can be a problem as well sometimes for some people. Like, I know some of the typical arguments in the United States is, oh, lowering wages. What are the other ones? Like, stealing jobs. Some of these other things. I mean, even for some of them, I can see how like it can happen actually in some areas. I feel like there's probably data that shows that for some areas, but I do know like there's some areas that where it's like not necessarily true, or it might even benefit citizens in the long run because, and again, I don't necessarily know if I agree with this or not, because I haven't really had a full opinion, because at the end of the day, the immigrants still take the lowest jobs. But that's what happens. So it might be benefit for the citizens in the long run, because the immigrants take the lowest of the lowest jobs. The citizens get boosted up to like higher jobs, because where else are they gonna be in society? And that's what I've seen. Like I know my parents worked in the mushroom houses in Pennsylvania, and the majority of them are Mexican or like Latinos. I saw only brown faces, not a singular white person or a singular black person. It was all brown faces, and it was a job. Like, I mean, it stank. Like, it's like them. Like, I don't know what it is. The fertilizer. Like, I don't know what it is. But when you go by like the mushroom houses in Pennsylvania, it just stinks. So that's one aspect. There's like dirt gets thrown on your head. The second floor is not even really a floor. There's like two slim like planks. You can just slide off of that thing. And I mean, if you don't have like a green card, work authorization, you don't get like insurance. Like, or not insurance, but you don't get like workers' compensation. You can't claim that stuff. Like, that's from what I know from the experiences around me. I don't know what they're doing in the West Coast or anything in California, for example, but like that's on the East Coast, that's what it is. Um, but there's no white person, no black person. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how I feel about that in the long run, to be honest. I don't know how I feel about that necessarily, but it's just something to think about when considering the, stealing jobs argument and, just different things like that. And then there's also just what I got in trouble with with my last one of my last videos about the whole situation of the guns that are from the United States being illegally trafficked into Mexico, and the cartels are using them and stuff like that. I saw another video today that was talking about that. So what's that about? Like, yes, of course Mexico has to take into account some responsibility. They do have some work to do with the cartels and everything, but the United States shouldn't just be let off the hook when there's guns being sourced from the United States. The source is the United States. I'm not saying it's the only source. I'm not saying it's the only source at all. That's not the argument. But if there's some guns, even some guns that are from the United States and they're being found in Mexico, I feel like there should be some accountability. And of course, if the cartels have the guns and stuff and they're terrorizing the community and everything, they're gonna want to come to the United States, to different locations to be better. So then there's that immigration aspect of it, the push factors again. And who is to blame? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Like, I don't know, like, why not take some accountability if this is true? I'm not saying take responsibility for all of it, you know? The United States doesn't have to take responsibility for everything wrong in Mexico. And yes, some things that Mexico is doing wrong, you know what I'm saying? But there's some of that right there. Or even things like drugs. If there's no demand, there's no supply. It's just something to think about. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna get in trouble for this. But it's just something to think about, yo. Like, we gotta be like less emotional about things and just think about it straightforward. Like, I'm like, you know, the people that I care about the most are like Mexican. That's why I care about both countries, to be honest. I care about the United States and I care about Mexico. I grew up in the United States, but Mexico, that's where the people I really care about come from as well. And people, I still have family over there and stuff. So I care about both countries. But it's just something to think about. I don't know. Anyways, this is it turned into a lot more to talk about. And there's a lot more that I missed, and there's a lot more that I don't know, and there's a lot more that I didn't cover. But this is just some stuff that I know and that I just wanted to put out there, and hopefully it helps inform people in one way or another. You don't have to take anything. Like, that's the thing. Just listen and actually be open to what I say. That's the only thing I ask. Because I try to do the same thing with everybody, even people that are like, no, like, all right, like, all right, like, no, like, no immigrants, blah, blah, blah. No. Like, I've even talked to, honestly, like, even as a Mexican, like, I actually, like, admire some of the things that people that are more, like, right-wing, like, or conservative-leaning, like, I actually agree with a lot of the stuff that they say, but it wasn't until, like, I actually started opening up and, like, listening that I actually understood that there's more things in common than there's not. For me, at least. But because, yeah, there was, in one of my classes, actually, I had former Congressman Thomas Davis from Virginia come in to talk. And I mean, he was all like, yeah, like, no, like, illegal immigration, I'm tough on that. I'm tough on that. Like, I don't want nobody coming in here illegally. And I was like, okay. Like, I was listening, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, he was just talking. He was just talking. And then afterwards, I talked to him after this discussion that he had with the class. And I was like, well, yeah, like, what's going on? Like, you know, like, I just wanted to hear more about him and like his ideas and stuff. But he's like, yeah, like, I'm tough on immigration, like illegal immigration. But I want there to be like a wider like door, essentially. So for more legal immigration and less illegal immigration. So I was like, okay. That's something that we can, I feel like, agree on. Cause I feel like it's not good even for like people to be coming over, regardless of where you're from, to be crossing the border and going through such dangerous stuff. I mean, of course, I know why people do it, and it's not like a light decision for like the normal average person. But yeah, so we can agree on that, like, because it is dangerous, and it's not necessarily the safest even for people that are here in the United States, necessarily to just have anybody come over. But I do want there to be like easier, better paths for legal citizenship. And so that's something that we can agree on, me and him, a Republican. You know, somebody that I'm not supposed to be like listening to or talking to. Just, I don't know. I just want people to actually listen to each other. Cause yeah, I mean, I feel like we all just want things to be better, but we gotta actually listen to each other. And I feel like we haven't really been doing well with that recently in the media and everything. So I don't know. But yeah, I just want to put that out there. And yeah, hopefully this does something, helps in some way or another. Yeah. All right. Hope everybody has a good rest of their day. Bye.